This is the second session of the universal laws, and how can we use these laws? How can we truly understand these laws? And not only that, but how can we embody these laws? How can we incorporate them into our everyday life so that we can truly step into co-creation with the universe? How we can create the life on our terms. So last week we talked about this overarching principle, this overarching truth about our world, our universe, and that is that everything in our universe is energy. So if you take anything in the world, from this hard table or hard chair to your body, to just anything, you take anything, and if you look under a massive microscope, you will see that everything is made out of molecules and atoms and small particles that are moving, they are vibrating. And these particles, when they vibrate and when they move, they create and generate energy. So in other words, everything in our world is energy. Now, the difference between something that is physical, in our physical world, like this book or this hand, that we can see, that we can touch, the difference between having a person of your dreams in your life, having money, anything in the physical world, and something that is not in the physical world, is the frequency of the vibration or the rate of that vibration. Moreover, our thoughts also have certain vibration. And as a matter of fact, our thoughts, our internal energy, our ideas have a very high rate, very high frequency of that vibration. And the higher the rate of the vibration, or the higher the frequency, the more powerful it is. And that is why when I talk about co-creating with the universe, in this understanding, your thoughts have a tremendous power. And in other words, Tony Robbins, one of my teachers, says that your success in anything, 80% of your success or failure in anything depends on your psychology. So whatever goes on in your head, whatever goes on internally in your body determines up to 80% on whether or not you're going to succeed or fail. And that is why whatever it is that you think about constantly is what you ultimately attract into your life, and that is what ultimately transforms from the non-physical world into your physical world. I hope this makes sense. So I took notes so that I stay on track and hopefully make my point across, bring my point across. And if something is not it doesn't make sense, please type in your comments, and I'll do my best to respond to your comments. So our thoughts, right? So if you were, in other words, so everything is vibration, everything is energy, and also that vibration attracts similar energy. Or in simple English, you can say like attracts like. In simple terms, if you constantly think positive thoughts, you tend to attract more positive thoughts into your life. You tend to attract feeling positive, upbeat, powerful, creative, unstoppable, unshakable, unbreakable. Also, your positive thoughts attract good things into your life. And I'm talking in a very simple, kind of simplified type of way. If you think about your everyday life, if you look at your closest friends, most likely your closest friends and you share the same ideas. You'll most likely share the same values. And as a matter of fact, the research shows that if you take the 5 of your closest friends, I don't remember the statistics, but most likely you make the same amount of money, you live in a similar house like them, you'll probably have like the same amount of children as your closest friends. And another example of that energy, the law of vibration or the law of attraction, that energy you can also sense when somebody is in a bad mood. They don't even have to say anything or do anything, but you can sense that that person is in a bad mood. What else can I say? I'm looking at my notes here. What I need to say right now is that your brain is the most powerful electromagnetic mechanism ever made in this universe. So you and only you have the power to control your thoughts. And whatever your thoughts are is what you will experience. It's going to affect your feelings, it's going to affect your inner state, and your thoughts will ultimately affect how you show up in your world. So when we learn to control our thoughts, when we learn to control our inner state, we literally start directing our thoughts in a positive direction. We start funneling positive thoughts into our lives, and eventually those positive thoughts will attract and materialize our desires into our real life, into our reality. So how do you learn to control your thoughts? To me, and I made a post earlier this week about if you want to have results, if you want to have results in any aspect of your life, you have to have the discipline. So my discipline is my daily meditation practice. So when I meditate, it's actually scientifically proven that when you meditate, you learn to control your thoughts. And not only do I meditate every day, but I also use a set of affirmations. And in that way, I not only listen to my affirmations, declarations, incantations, I also say them out loud. And in a way, I'm reprogramming my brain to focus on what I really want. And as a matter of fact, this week I'm going to make you guys a tape, something similar to what I listen to every single day. So I just took voice recordings on my iPhone and I recorded my own voice. And I started with my incantation, something like, every day and in every way, I get strong, healthy, confident, creative, powerful, captivating, charismatic, unbreakable, unshakable, unstoppable, divinely guided, infinitely loved, things like that. And then for I don't even know how many minutes I say everything that comes into my mind. And then I start saying the things that I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my amazing husband, for my healthy, beautiful children. And then at some point, I start talking about how I am grateful for all of those things that I really wish to have in my life. So right now, my husband and my kids and I are traveling around the world. And technically, we don't have a home. We actually don't have like anything material. We sold our house, we sold our cars, we sold our clothes, we gave away our furniture. And in my tape, I call it my tape, I actually say I'm grateful for the house of my dreams. I feel comfortable in my house. I feel at home. My house is filled with laughter and joy and abundance and prosperity. So I speak out loud all those things that I'm grateful for to generate a certain emotional state. Even though I don't yet have the house of my dreams, yet on my tape that I recorded for myself and that I listen to every morning when I meditate, I talk about living in the house of my dreams. And by doing that, I start feeling a certain way. I get excited about living in my house. I generate all those feelings that I will have once I step my foot into the house of my dreams. Once I wake up in the morning and I drink my freshly brewed coffee, all of this, I activate all of my senses, the sense of smell, the sense of joy, the sense of taste, touch, and I just generate the feelings, I generate the energy, I step into a certain vibration that in turn attracts that house of my dreams into my life. I hope this makes sense. So I literally would meditate and listen to that tape every single morning. And as I listen to my tape, I also envision everything that I am talking about, the house of my dreams, the type of work that I do, the type of car that I drive, and whatever else that I desire to have in my life. I would also listen to that tape when I'm doing dishes or cooking. Just any moment that I get, I just put in my earphones and I listen to my tape. So this week, guys, I will make something similar, something more general, so that you can listen to it and also get an idea, an inspiration for your tape. So I highly recommend meditation, daily meditation, because when you have a daily discipline of meditation, you'll learn to control your thoughts. You'll learn to direct your thoughts. And it's just like a bicep. The more you work out that bicep, the more you lift that weight, the stronger the bicep gets. The same way when you meditate every day, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you work out that muscle, you work out your brain, so that at some point, your outlook on life, your thoughts are the positive thoughts. At some point you step into a certain vibration in your life. It's not to say that you'll never have a day when you're stressed out or in a bad mood, but you will notice that those days become fewer and fewer. Okay, let us all take a deep inhale and exhale. What else do I need to say about that? So you will all often hear me say that I am the master of my destiny. And I mean that in a positive way and also the negative way as well. So in other words, sometimes people complain about, their significant other, like their relationship ends and they complain about their ex, that this person was this way and he was abusive, or he was, this terrible, terrible person. Or sometimes people would talk about how they're mistreated by their coworkers, and things like that. And what I say to that is, instead of blaming others, why don't you take a look at yourself? Because according to the law of vibration and attraction, something within you attracted those people into your life. Yeah, this is not an inconvenient truth, so to speak. Something that within you attracted these people into your life. And if you want to create a change in your life, the easiest and the fastest way to get there is to change something within you. And once you change something within you, you literally step into a different kind of vibration, and you'll start attracting new people into your life. You will start attracting certain events into your life. You'll attract pretty much everything into your life, but it depends on your own vibration, on your own energy. I hope this makes sense, you guys. Let me give you an example from my personal life. I like to give a lot of examples from my real life so that hopefully you can see parallels to your life. So when my husband and I ran Yoga One, and many of you guys on this call used to come to our studios, one of the reasons why Yoga One was so successful is because we had a team of outstanding people. Every single person on our team was an exceptional person. And, without bragging, I hope you take it correctly, Roger and I very mindfully and intentionally attracted those people into our lives. It didn't just happen by accident. It was our intention to create a certain type of team. And in a lot of ways, yes, we initiated this process, we put a goal in front of us. We want to attract a team of really brilliant, positive, powerful, outstanding people who will co-create with us the best yoga community in the world. We put that goal in front of us, and anytime you with clarity decide what it is that you want, the universe will always step up and bring it to you. Or if you believe in God, I do believe in God, and I believe that a lot of it was divine grace. The fact that we had such an outstanding team was not only our intention, but also God met us halfway. And this is why Yoga One was so successful. Let me think of another example. I promised you guys that I'll talk about personal, intimate relationships today or on these calls. I truly believe that in order to have a thriving, happy marriage or relationship, it is very important to have similar values, similar beliefs between the people. So again, the law of vibration, the law of attraction, like attracts like. And it is my belief that in order for a marriage to be successful, it is important to align on really big matters. Matters like money, matters like faith, matters like children, even political views. It's important for the husband and wife or for the partners in a relationship to have similar values and similar outlooks on life, on big matters. Yeah? So in America, I think, unfortunately, the divorce rate is 50%. And number one reason why people get divorced is because of money. They cannot agree on money. So, like I said, it's important to align and be on the same page when it comes to big matters. And it's, again, based on the law of attraction, the law of vibration, like attracts like. Okay, let us all take a deep inhale and exhale it all out. When we take a deep breath, we turn on our brain and we can retain the information better. We can understand it. We open up a door to creativity. We can literally open up the door to co-creating with the universe. So take another really deep inhale and big exhale. So as some of you know, I come from the former Soviet Union, and I'm a very practical person. We can talk about, the universal laws and theory, and it's all great, but I need to know, how does it work in practical life? Give me practical, real tools, something that I can do every day to literally create the life of my dreams. So last week, I invited you guys to play the prosperity game with me. Again, it's an everyday kind of practice. It's a discipline. And if you do it with discipline every day, you will feel how your money consciousness expands, your prosperity consciousness expands. Just trust that if you do something with discipline, repetition is a mother of skill, that if you do something consistently, something will change. There will be a shift. So what I offer you today, you guys, is a 3-way process to manifesting or co-creating with the universe. And it's a 3-step process. First, it is important to know with clarity, with absolute clarity, what is it that you truly want. Paradoxically, most people are very clear on what it is that they don't want, but they have a much more difficult time to identifying what it is that they truly want. So let's be on a very kind of mundane everyday level. I don't want to get sick, or I don't want to date that loser, or I don't want to lose all this money, right? So, we can go into the why our brain tends to go towards what we don't want. There is an evolutionary explanation to that. I'm not going to go down that road explaining why our brain tends to focus on what we don't want. And yet, remember how I said our brain has the most powerful electromagnetic mechanism there is in the universe. So you can control your thoughts. And when you sit down and you write down the first step, identify what is it that you want, the power of knowing what you want. So for every area of your life, identify what it is that you want. What kind of life do you want to have in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? What is your ultimate goal? What is the life of your dreams? How does it look like? So sit down and write that down with clarity. What is your dream life? If you yourself don't know what you want, the universe can't help you. God can't help you. How can God help you if you yourself don't even know what you want, right? So sit down, write down what it is that you want for every aspect of your life. How does the life of your dreams look like? And second step is to rise up the vibration, your vibration. So that literally once you rise up your vibration, energetic vibration, remember your thoughts have the most powerful energy vibration there is. So once you rise up that vibration, you literally start attracting those things into your life. And this is once again when I talk about your daily discipline. To me, I have lots of different practices that I do every single day. I don't do all of them in one day, but I alternate. So a lot of times I will, sit in meditation. I will listen to my tape and I'll literally visualize how does the life of my dreams look like. I see it in clarity, like in specific detail, how everything looks like. I generate the feelings, the energy of how I will feel like in my ideal home, how I will feel like once I live the life of my dreams. I know exactly how it looks like. I know how it feels like. I know how it tastes like. And when I step into that inner state, I create a certain level of vibration that I truly believe starts attracting those things into my life. Another practice that I have, I'm happy to share with you the link. It's my morning ritual. And that's the whole ritual where I go on a run, and it starts with a breathing exercise. Then it goes into like my gratitude practice, where I say out loud all the things that I'm grateful for. And then at some point I start saying out loud that what I'm grateful for, all those things that I don't yet have in my life. But I speak about them. I feel gratitude for those things as though they already are in my life. Does it make sense? So I'm not going to go into great details about that because I'll just share with you another video that I created this past summer when I was in Malibu, so you guys can listen to it. I can give you several links on different meditations that I do, so all those links, I'll post them. But what I'm saying is, when you have a daily discipline of doing something like that, of focusing on your ultimate goal, then you step into a higher vibration. You program your brain, you program your body, you create a certain level of energy that helps you attract those things and transform them from something that is outside of the physical material world, right? It's only thoughts, it's only imagination, it's only desires, and yet at some point in your life, those things will transform and they'll become a part of your material life. I talk about all those things, guys. I am living that life, I envisioned my business, I envisioned my world travels long before it happened. So I'm not just talking about theory. I am the embodiment of everything that I'm talking about. And if you know me closely, like you're probably familiar with all my path. Some of you have been coming to my studios from the day we opened, and some of you are following me on Instagram and Facebook. We've been traveling around the world, we've been connecting, we've been having fun, all of those things. Everything that I have in my life today, it all first happened in my imagination years before, and yet I made it happen here and now. I transformed it from just the ideas, just the dreams, into something that I can touch, feel, and experience here in my reality. Okay, So I will share with you all my meditations, all my practices. Oh, and the last step, I said it's a 3-step process. The last step in that process is to, remember I said the first step is identify with absolute clarity what it is that you want. Second step is have a daily discipline of seeing what it is that you want, right? Envisioning it. And the third step is to surrender and let it go. In other words, let go and let God. Because at some point, if like I have a very type A personality, I can totally make whatever I want happen. I mean, I will work hard. I'll do whatever it takes to make it my reality. And at the same time, sometimes when I get too focused like that, I create this vibration or the energy of being too rigid, too controlling. I want my dreams, my goals to become my reality, in a very particular way, in a very specific timeline. And when I step into that place energetically, it feels very tight. It feels very controlling, and it's not a very powerful place to be. And the opposite of that is to surrender that to something that is bigger than you, the forces of the universe, God, whatever it is that you want to say, because my deepest belief is that God's ways are so much better than my ways. And even when I believe that when I surrender, when I let go and let God, every single time God takes me to the places beyond my wildest dreams. And I can go on and on in this topic. Something miraculous happened to me last week when I came to this agriturismo in Italy, to this random place, and then by the divine grace of God, it ended up, this place is owned by my cousin from my grandfather's first marriage that I never even knew about. Yet it turns out that the woman who owns this agriturismo is my cousin, and I never even knew that she existed, that my grandfather was even married before he married my grandmother. And I traveled all over the world, and I came to this place in Italy, to this particular agriturismo, to meet this woman and to connect with my family that I didn't even know about. So anyway, it's miraculous, and the odds of that happened are just totally unrealistic. All I can say, it's like I had a total incomplete but God moment. So the third step in this process is to let go and let God. Let's all take a deep breath. Let's breathe that in. Let go and let God. Surrender it and have faith that you are divinely guided, that you're infinitely loved, and that when you surrender, the universe always takes you to the places beyond your wildest dreams. Okay, so the last thing that I want to talk to you guys about is the law of polarity. And the law of polarity is the total opposite of the law of attraction. The law of polarity sounds something like this. So everything in this world has its opposite. So we have a North Pole and we have a South Pole. And because of that polarity, plus and minus, the plus and minus are, even though they're different, they're being pulled together. Like the magnets, right? If you put the plus side to plus side, they will push away from each other. Yet when you turn the magnet to the minus side, that's when they are pulled together, right? Let me say it maybe in different terms. Another way you can say the law of polarity, the law of the opposites, is yin and yang, right? Or the light and the dark, or the good and the evil. So those are opposites, right? And the opposites attract. And many of you guys are yogis. As yogis, we understand that everything in this world is about that beautiful place of balance. Yeah, how do you live your life in this beautiful place of balance where you're balancing, you're living in harmony with all these different forces and energies pulling at us from different direction. So on one hand, we have the law of vibration and attraction, right? Like attracts like. But then on the other side, we have a law of polarity, meaning that the opposites attract. So let's talk about in the context of intimate relationships. So just a few moments ago, I said to have a thriving, happy, intimate relationship, it's important to have similar values, similar outlook on life when it comes to big matters, right? What I'm also saying is that for a happy and thriving intimate relationship, it's important to have polarity, because that polarity, the differences between me and my partner, that's what creates a lot of passion. That's what creates spark. That's what creates romance, attraction, that mad magnetism between the partners. Now, what happens usually when people meet each other, there is a lot of romance, there is a lot of passion. And then once they are together, after a while, that passion either calms down or completely disappears. Even though people love each other deeply, that passion may not necessarily be there. Do you know what I mean? So why does that happen? And one of the explanations, or the main explanation why it happens, is because we lose that polarity. Once we spend a lot of time together in a relationship, at some point we become very much alike. And when we become alike, that's when polarity disappears. Does that make sense? Let me give you an example from my relationship. So I am very, very organized person. I'm a very disciplined person. I plan everything in advance. I write everything down. If I have a to-do list, I usually get it completed when I want it completed. And my husband is more, he's more free. Or at some period in our marriage, I considered that being disorganized. I considered it being forgetful. Do you know what I mean? So he's like the opposite of me. And I used to nag at my husband and I said, hey, you need to get better organized. Buy a planner, write stuff down in your planner. And whenever he didn't do what I would ask him to do, I'd get really upset and I would nag at him all the time. But what I essentially was doing, I was trying to make my husband more like me. I wanted him to be organized like me. I wanted him to be disciplined like me. I wanted him to be structured like me. And what I didn't know is when we become very much alike, the passion, the romance, the spark in the relationship disappears. And when I learned the law of polarity, it was very, very helpful to me to look at our relationship through a different lens. So initially when I fell in love with Roger, I fell in love with his freedom, with his creativity, with his, artistic personality. I fell in love with him because he was so romantic and so spontaneous. So all of those adjectives, in other words, the negative side to that can be disorganized, undisciplined, things like that. So what I'm trying to say, in order for you to have that sparkle and romance and passion in a relationship, it's important to remember the law of polarity. Our differences is what makes us be pulled towards each other like magnets. So just like in yoga, we're balancing all these different things. You're balancing the law of attraction, right? Like attracts like, and the law of polarity at the same time. And the beauty is, how do you kind of vibrate in between these two things? I hope this makes sense. Let me explain the law of polarity in a different context. Whatever happens in life, it has two sides. no matter how big a problem is, no matter how challenging a situation is, always remember that there is a total opposite side to the situation. And no matter how difficult that situation can be or is right now, just know that that difficulty is also a tremendous opportunity. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, in one of our studios, we were supposed to have a partner. So because of that partner, we had a huge build out, a lot more than we would have normally invested into opening a yoga studio. It took the build out of that studio took much longer than we planned. We were faced with multiple different delays from the contractor, from the city of Houston, etc., etc. So at some point, our partner just left us. And Roger and I were faced with this giant build-out bill. Not only that, but we lost a person that we loved dearly, our dear friend. We lost somebody who contributed a lot to our community, to our business, and it felt like our team was falling apart. And honestly, looking back, it seemed like it was the most devastating situation ever. Honestly, guys, we were on the verge of bankruptcy, and Roger and I were completely stressed out. We didn't sleep for many, many, many nights, and we didn't even know how we would pay our bills, And at the time, it seemed like it was such a difficult, such a horrible situation. Like I said, we were on the verge of bankruptcy. We were devastated. We were devastated on every single level. And yet, that situation forced us to buckle up, to step up, to rise up and overcome that difficulty. And then years later, well, not years later, but that studio ended up being our top 3 producing studio, the top 3 most successful studios out of 7 that we had. And when we sold our business, when we sold our studios, it ended up being a really great deal. And if we had that partner that we were so devastating about that partner leaving, we probably would have never been able to sell our studio. It was so much easier to sell our business without the partner than it would have been if we had that partner. Does it make sense? So even though that situation seemed like something completely devastating and the worst thing that could have happened, it ended up being the best situation ever. Like, we grew as leaders, we grew as business people, as entrepreneurs, and in the end, we got paid, as when we sold the business. So what I'm trying to say is the law of polarity. In any situation in life, there are 2 sides. Even if a situation is devastating, it's horrible, it's difficult, it brings you down to your knees, know that difficulty is always an opportunity. And if you look at it through that lens, you can see a way to get out of it. You can shift your inner state. You can step up. You can rise up. And you can freaking slay. You can deliver. You can step forward. You can grow up. You can become stronger, wiser, smarter, more brilliant, more successful as a result of that. So remember, the law of polarity is really, really important. Okay. Let us all take a deep, deep, deep breath and exhale it all out. So I'm going to tell you what the homework will be for today. And it's kind of, significant this week. So what I'd like for you to do, if you haven't done this already, if you've never done this, spend some time writing down what is it that you want. Write down, how does the life on your terms look like in every area of your life? In your health, in your personal life, in your finances, in your career. Write down on a sheet of paper, how does the life of your dreams look like? And when you write it down in terms of what you want rather than what you don't want, right? Instead of saying, I don't want to be struggling with money, say something like, I'm financially thriving. Right? I'm thriving financially instead of I don't want to struggle with money, things like that. Second of all, start a daily discipline of meditation. I'll share with you lots of different meditation techniques. I already shared last week. I'll repost again. I will, if not meditation, then start with a morning ritual, and I'll share with you my morning ritual that I do every single day. I'll put that link out there. I'll also share with you another meditation that I call Angel's Basket. It helps you with that let go and let God aspect, right? There is a very specific meditation that I do when I'm faced with a particularly difficult or challenging situation, or a situation where I need to make an important decision, or a situation where I feel myself getting into that place where I really want something and I want it my way and I want it on my time frame and according to my plan, and I get into that rigid place. I do that meditation. It helps me to surrender, release, let go, and let God. So I'll post that. And then I'll write it all down for you guys. Another aspect of your homework would be, on a different day, journal about, look back at your life and write down at least 3 situations when something, this is around the law of polarity, when something was like a challenge, an issue that you were faced with, or a problem. It seemed like something like a big problem. Looking back, you can see that it was actually also an opportunity, right? Because of that problem, because of that difficulty, something happened that really, it became an opportunity. So look at your past and find 3 occasions when that happened. And again, journal with that. And when you journal, just write down whatever is the first thing that pops into your mind, without filtering it or without thinking about it too much. Because whenever it comes into your mind and you start writing it down, that's when you truly access your subconscious. And it's important for you to access your subconscious instead of constantly filtering it out. So I'll write it down for you, all the questions, all right? Think about that within the context of the law of polarity. What happened in your life that was a problem that was really became an opportunity for you? And then the last part of your homework will be to look in your personal, intimate relationship, if you're in a relationship right now, or look at your past relationship and see the law of polarity there, right? Look at how your differences were actually the different parts of polarity that created passion and that magnetism between you and your partner. I remember how I talked about how I'm very well organized and I like to plan. And Roger is the opposite of that. He's actually very spontaneous and free and creative. And that is actually a good thing, because we're different. We're being pulled to each other. And whenever I try to control him, not control him because I can never control him, but whenever I make an attempt to make him more like me, I'm actually killing that passion in our relationship. That's actually not a good thing. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for watching.